Welcome to Horsepower. I'm Willie, and today we are wrapping up the EZ30 engine conversion into the GT86 rally car. Later on we'll put the car on the dyno, but for now let's finish off the air intake. Alright, well I've got the wire piece all done. I've got these bits here, so these are nicely mirrored. A couple of joiners there coming down to the front, and the loose plan is to use some of these, and they're going to go through this gap here above the radiator and then get a couple of pod filters on either side. So we have a problem here, we've got a massive gap above the radiator, so obviously all the air is going to pressurize in the front and then spill up over the top, not going through the radiator. So it's quite important that we seal all that off. So what I've done is go to my computer and draw up these bits and then plasma cut them out, and so tack these together and see if it fits. This intake is now all finished. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Not only that, I've now got a carbon fibre hood on it. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, she runs. We are now on the dyno here at SAS. We are going to see how much power this gear makes and how much noise it's going to make. that's the tune all done. It all went pretty smoothly. Made a whopping 237 horsepower. Probably the noisiest 237 horsepower ever. It sounds cool. It doesn't sound amazing, but it sounds cool. We'll take it around the block and see how it really sounds. So there's 237 horsepower. That's actually quite good for one of these. These guys have tuned a bunch of them. However, they've all been in four-wheel drive cars and they usually make around 220, 225 horsepower. So despite, as you'd expect, it's not driving the front wheel, so it makes a little extra horsepower, as to be expected. Give you a wee look at the graphic. Quite torquey, quite good range of torque spread, so from about 4,000 to 6,000 it's got real solid torque, 300 newton meters. So it's not the smoothest torque curve, but it is what it is. So the dyno session's all finished now. I took it around the block afterwards and it was so incredibly loud that I didn't want to put my foot down and actually give it the beans. It was obnoxious, even by my standards. So then I quickly went to the exhaust shop and bought a muffler. And I've just installed that to quieten it down. There's also a couple of little water leaks, a couple of little hose clamps to tighten up, nothing too major. So now I'm going to say that this conversion is now done, and well, I'm racing it in a couple of days, so I'll get to test it out. All in all, pretty happy. The biggest problem we had was setting up the Motec. So my tuner Jason at SAS, a very clever guy and has a lot of experience tuning, however hasn't set up many M150s, and there were numerous things inside the package, the Motec software package for this car, which wasn't set up correctly. Basically stuff that we shouldn't have to set up wasn't set up, so we had to get an expert Motec dealer to remotely log in, help us get it set up and running, and then it ran straight away after that on 4 cylinders. Turns out the wiring job we did almost perfect. The only thing we mixed up was we got cylinder 5 and 6 coil ran the wrong way. Swapped those over. She fired up running on 6 straight away really nicely. The way Motec tunes things is it's a modelled equation where you need to put in all the injector data, and unfortunately we didn't have, nor did Motec have, all the injector data and characterization for those particular injectors. So when we tuned it, there are ways around it, but it's not 100%. Basically we had to fudge the fuel efficiency map in order to compensate for the injectors not being quite right. It's not ideal. It doesn't really affect the power. Maybe we get a little bit more economy or a bit more part throttle power had we had those injectors perfectly characterized. So Motec are happy to do that for us for free, so they'll do any commercially available injector. I've just got to send those off to them. They'll measure all the flow rates and stuff, and then they'll send us a file. We can upload that to the Motec. That's going to take a few weeks or something, so for now it's running well, but we'll finish off and tidy up the tune once we get that data. Funny thing about Motecs, when they're good, they're really good. There's a few things about them which are quite tricky to set up. I wouldn't say they're intuitive either. I've played around a lot with links, so I'm very familiar with how they operate, and the Motec, a lot of the things do make sense once you understand them. That's just the nature of playing around with different ECUs, really. Learning the language, they're all cool, everything's called different things, they're different menus, different layout in the software. Anyway, so it's a bit of a learning curve for both me and particularly for Jason. Once the motor was running, the tune was quite simple. You're just adjusting fuel maps, VVTI maps, and all that stuff is pretty much the same as any other ECU. So now I'm just going to basically go through the car, do a nut and bolt check, check oils, check fluids, tie a few wires down, and get ready to go racing. So this concludes the conversion, EZ conversion. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. It's certainly been an interesting project, and project time is over now. It's time to go and race it. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.